So I need to talk about some things that I can't handle right now. Like on my computer in the background, I'm starting to cry over this. I'm trying to watch the series finale of Parks and Recreation and I can't stop tearing up. I'm probably gonna cry. Whew. It's actually probably even harder now because I had told you guys a while ago that I was having trouble finding a show to watch with Mike, and I suggested this because he had seen it a few times, and I would play it while I was like cooking dinner and stuff in the background, and he sort of seemed interested. So we've been watching it from the beginning, and we're probably about halfway through right now, and so I know I'm going to have to go through this all over again with him. It's probably, I don't know why do I get so emotional? What TV show finale did you get the most emotional about? I ask that specifically because I think books and movies are so much easier and more accepted to be a tear fest when they're over. Other things that I can't handle include my dog Lucy here getting butchered today. Huh, Luce, what did Daddy do to you? I went to run errands this morning, and it admittedly took longer than I normally would because I needed to go to a store that didn't open until 10 and I was already out, so I kind of waited around in the parking lot a little bit. And while I was gone, Mike gave Lucy a bath, which is something he does often, which I don't mind at all. But he also claimed that there was a mat in her tail, so he cut her whole tail off. Her tail looks so weird now. I did do that once though. My poor friend Crystal, when she lived here, I used to cut her dog's hair. One of their dog's hair. It was a Cocker Spaniel. And there was a Silky Terrier also that lived with us, and I shaved her down and she looks like a Chihuahua, and I didn't ask first, so I was like, that's alright, I did that to somebody else once, so now I know how it feels, I guess. Oh. Just hairs, it grows back. So I thought long and hard about wanting to, whether or not I wanted to talk about this. And the honest to goodness truth is I don't want to talk about it, but there are a few things that I feel like I want to kind of disclose, and it's probably going to come up. At least I feel too honest a person not to say anything about it. But well, and part of the reason why I'm saying this is due to something else. So the thing I'm going to talk about has to do with a personal decision that I'm making for myself. It's something that I'm going to venture into, basically, and it's really not a big deal, but I feel like I want to say something about it because at first I was like, oh, I can just go about my business and not have to specify that this is what I'm doing and that this is something that I'm trying to achieve. I'm not here for self-promotion. You guys know that. I never, ever will ask any of you to subscribe, and if I've done that in the past, I'd be surprised. I just don't want to insult your intelligence that, you know, to make it seem like I want to be here for you guys, but really just want to gain from it in different ways. I do monetize my videos, and that is a very small financial contribution to this time I spend making content, because a video takes at least 3 or 4 hours to edit on top of however long it took me to prepare the material or think it up or decide what to do. And there are definitely aspects of my life that I'm choosing to forego in order to spend the time to prepare material. So I don't feel that there's any harm in that, and I'm not saying anyone thinks there is, but surprisingly in the last week or so, maybe longer, I have been feeling like my channel is different now. And I don't know if it's because I'm creeping up to a higher number of subscribers so people don't look at me as a person anymore, but I get nasty messages, and I know that that's part of it. That's how this all goes. And I even have said in the past that you take the good with the bad. You shouldn't be, you know, this shouldn't be a place where people all have to agree with you and like everything you have to say. But I also get comments where people say things like, I'm not going to see them somehow, like, oh, she is this or that way, and it's just weird to me. It's just uncomfortable because I'm used to it being on a really small and intimate scale. So I'm just learning to kind of go with the flow on that and not pay as much attention to it, but I am obviously a pretty sensitive person, and I really think about a lot of the ways that things I say and my actions affect other people. And that's why I failed so terribly at a call screening job that I had in my mid-20s, because I just wanted to make everybody happy. And when people are calling a cell phone company, they just want to yell and they just want free credits on their account. They don't want you to give them a meaningful, life-changing experience. So it is weird and sometimes awkward for me to make this content when I don't really have a major objective. It's more or less just hanging out with you guys. I do kind of joke with people and say that I am a know-it-all, and I like to be a know-it-all. And I used to have friends who would ask me things, and I don't know, I just developed this aspect of my personality where people would come to me for advice and want to know my opinions on things, and sometimes they'd be like, how do you know so much stuff, or how do you think that you know so much stuff? And I would say it's because I want to know it all. I want to feel like if there's something I don't understand, or if I have a question about something, I want that to not be the case any longer. And if I can help other people too, that's what I'd like to do. Unfortunately, I only take a lot of that knowledge so far because, you know, there are things that I have interest in and there's things that I like to share with you guys, but that's kind of what's happened here. Is it's been an outlet for me to talk about some really deeply personal and emotional things and difficult things, and also do things that are incredibly, you know, small-minded and shallow in a lot of ways. But my ultimate goal in a lot of those, you know, moments is to still connect with people. And I think that even though people might think that, you know, cosmetics are unnecessary and ridiculous, I still really believe in self-esteem and self-worth. And it sometimes, you know, just little things like that are the difference it makes to pull you out of a dark place. At least that's how it was for me. You know, I try and find things that are lights at the end of what feel like very long tunnels sometimes. And I also have anxiety disorder, and I don't like people looking at me, and it's really hard for me to be in a room one-on-one with somebody else because sometimes I just have no idea what to say. But in this instance, I still get to interact with all of you and feel like I have had meaningful experiences with other people. Why am I saying all of this to tell you something that isn't very important? It's because I like to maintain a decent amount of transparency in the things that I decide to do. I know that there are people who just enjoy being bullies or picking out the things that people say or do that they think are contradictory to other things that they've said and done. And I'm not claiming to be perfect, and I'm not claiming to be officially doing anything in any way, I guess, at this point. I just wanted to share with you that after a few strange things have happened to kind of bring it to my attention that it's something that I should really take seriously for a change, I have decided to try to move towards cruelty-free cosmetic consumption. And I know that there are a lot of gray areas when it comes to that, and there are a lot of things where contracts change, policies change. They're just all different reasons why that will be, in some ways, difficult to upkeep. I also have to look at things such as my favorite foundation for months now, for 7-8 months probably, has been this Maybelline foundation here. And I have to buy more of it soon because it's almost gone. But Maybelline is a company that is not cruelty-free, and I don't feel comfortable purchasing this if I know that it means that some animals suffered because of it. It's also like $7, and it's one of the greatest things I've put on my skin. So the only foundation that I know of that's cruelty-free, that's in my stash, that you know, I would repurchase going forward, is this Urban Decay product here. And this is $40. And yeah, it's probably really good for me and probably looks decent on my skin and is a good option. But that's a lot of money to spend on something that, well, it's less than half as much product in here than this. And so that's something I have to think about, but it does mean more to me that this is something that I am purchasing with a clearer conscience. I can't say clear 100% because Urban Decay is owned by a parent company that is not cruelty free. So to some people, they would say, I would not purchase this item. Or just for example, NYX. NYX is cruelty free, but their parent company is not. And there are some people who would say that they're done with NYX then. And that may change in the future, who knows? But to me, what I believe is that I'm sending the message to L'Oreal, who I think is who owns NYX, that, hey, well, you know, my dollars are going to go towards your cruelty-free lines, and those things will hopefully pay off in the future. I spent a really long time being vegan, and I was about 50-50 ethical vegan and 50-50 health related. And unfortunately, the things that I ended up eating on a regular basis, and I was strict, no cheating whatsoever, at least as long as I thought I knew. I researched everything before I put it in my mouth or put it in a shopping cart. And for 11 months exactly, I was a strict vegan. And I didn't purchase any leather goods, even if they were used. I was really careful about all of that. But at the time, I was still using makeup and other cosmetics and hair products that I'm sure were not cruelty free. I only took that so far. And so some people could have called me a hypocrite at the time, but I was doing what I thought was right. And now I'm in a position where I'm no longer a vegan, and I do eat animal products, and not as much as some people in certain aspects, but probably more than other people in other aspects, and I'm not looking to be judged for that. It's something that Mike and I do struggle with all the time. I struggle with all of this because I know that there are people who will judge me no matter what, and that's okay. There are some people who probably just don't like my face, they don't like my nose, or they don't like my hair color, who knows. So I can't worry about pleasing other people, but I can definitely focus on doing things that make me feel right. And switching to a high-fat, low-carb dietary lifestyle is something that I'm doing to better myself physically and hopefully provide myself with a family someday, and go above and beyond just existing and actually thrive in the body that I'm in. And if in those circumstances I feel like I need to nourish my body with things that are animal products and are considered not cruelty-free, I know that that's an uncomfortable thing, but it's something I kind of put out of my mind, and I do. I own chickens. I have pet chickens, and when we first got them, you know, somebody would be like, hey, how are you? What have you been up to? And Mike's like, oh, you know, we got some chickens. And people were like, what are you going to do with them? Because they would kind of strangely believe for some reason that we would be the type of people who would eat them. And yeah, we have consumed their eggs. Not a lot, because it's a little bit weird to eat eggs that come out of your pet, but we're going to get over that. I know, I'm sure, but we're new to that whole thing, and we completely recognize that it's weird to eat chicken on occasion and own chickens as pets. We get it. It's weird. And there's no perfect answer, I don't think, in any way, because some people would consider just using the eggs from the chickens that you own to be a bad thing. So I don't know. I felt like it's going to probably come up, and I don't do anything. I'm not an activist. I don't do anything to actively try and make the world a better place. I mean, I recycle. I try to practice kindness even when people don't deserve it. I am disappointed in myself, I guess, for indulging in something that is completely superfluous to my life, which is wearing makeup. Just because it makes me happy, just because it's something I enjoy at the expense of innocent animals. Those of you who follow my Instagram might have seen that I actually chased a moth down in our house last week so that I could feed it some sugar water. I prepared some sugar water for it, and I made sure that I got to a point where I moved slowly enough and I breathed carefully enough so that the moth would notice the sugar water and eat and drink it. And that was something that meant so much to me, and it was a moth, and some people would kill that moth. So I've been thinking about this for a while, and I know that I'm making a big deal out of it. I know that this probably seems like, Carisa, shut up, it's not that big of a deal, but there's probably going to come a point where I figured there would come a point where I was going to tell you for one reason or another that I was using a different foundation, and I thought somebody might wonder why I'm not still using this, and I don't want to lie about it or hide the fact that I'm doing something that I think is a good thing and supporting companies who don't participate in animal cruelty. I know that this can get, there's just such a wide range of things that can mean. The ingredients can be sourced from companies who practice animal testing, and there can be products that have carmine in them, you know, for the pigment. I am going to try and just educate myself and make decisions as I come to them. I'm certainly not going to just throw away everything that I have that has been involved in some kind of unsavory process, but it's tempting. Once you start thinking about these things, it's hard. But Mike and I have discussed it. You know, we have a terrarium that has a lizard in it and 2 toads and 2 tree frogs, and they've all been kind of brought into our home for different circumstances, but most of them were that this animal was dying and we wanted to provide it a life and a home and comfort. And so we have these animals and they eat bugs. So we have to purchase crickets to feed to these toads. And sometimes we feel bad about that, you know what makes the cricket less worthy. And you can go down so many different paths with that, and it's hard. So I just wanted to say it up front because my initial feeling on it was to just not talk about it and kind of just do what I thought was right. But then I thought I appreciate you guys for who you are and who you've been to me and just being around. And I thought if any of you are to feel that I'm a hypocrite enough to just not like me anymore and not want to watch my videos, good, leave. I don't want that around. That's how this should be. I don't feel like trying to be more careful about one aspect of what I do should matter as much to other things that I do, I guess. I don't know. I guess at the base of all of this is that I care very much about just being honest and upfront about things, even though there's stuff that, shouldn't have to come up, like the fact that I know some people leave nasty comments on my videos. That's just going to happen. And I don't know that isn't a 12-year-old boy somewhere doing that, because believe me, I know they're out there, they're doing it, and it doesn't matter if it's a 12-year-old boy or if it's a well-educated 40-year-old woman who should know better. It's just something that's going to happen, and I don't want to ever really focus on that again. I just wanted to let you know that because I've been starting to sort of see the ugly side of what it is that I do, I have to accept that that's out there, that's going to happen, and I want to, at the core of all of this, still remain honest and direct with you guys and not insult you by not just telling you how I feel or what I'm doing or why I'm doing it. My favorite new skincare line right now, I'm trying to edit a skincare video I made like 2 weeks ago. Basically, I don't know, 60% of what I'm mentioning is from a line that is not cruelty-free, and in a lot of ways I think, will I even purchase that again in the future? Is it even right to show you guys that video if that's something that I won't feel comfortable buying again, even though I love it a lot and I'll have to move on and find something different? I don't know. That's the kind of stuff that I'm struggling with, because I just don't think that I'll be able to definitively have like a yes or no, this is always how it's going to be answer towards all of these things. And some of it does make me uncomfortable, but it's part of the process. It's part of what I'm experiencing. So that's it. Thank you for letting me kind of let that out and get it off of my chest. I think that it's something that in the future I won't really discuss much. This is something that's very important to me, and thank you, Winter Moth, for kind of opening my eyes to the fact that if I wouldn't kill a moth in my kitchen and I don't want it to starve, I certainly don't want bunny rabbits having things dropped in their eyes, or worse, so that I can have makeup on. Another thing that I'm going to tell you is that it doesn't matter if I'm talking about something like this that's really difficult for me to discuss. or my infertility or any of that, my weight. Videos like that are especially difficult to edit, to not only listen to myself say it the first time, but to edit myself talking about it and then post. And I always hold my breath for the first couple of minutes after that goes up and live, because it's just, I don't know, even after all this time, it's difficult. But I do that if I'm opening a Birchbox. It doesn't matter. I always feel a little bit like I'm a little kid stepping out onto a stage for the first time in her tap shoes, and I have a hard time sometimes. So just know that I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. I am so grateful for the fact that I have this outlet, even if sometimes it is under the guise of, you know, opening a subscription service or whatever it is. You're important to me. This is important to me, and it means a lot. And it's not anything that I'm doing for any reason other than to just enjoy the experience. And I hope that you know that. So thank you. Thank you so much. And I will talk to you soon. Bye. Now it's time to say goodbye to Leslie Nope.